Vanguard 0, set 2 Kagero. Let's do it, guys. Hey everyone, it is Kai from WCC. Today we're jumping back into Vanguard 0 and we're talking all about set 2 Kagero. Now, what has changed in Kagero in set 2? And the answer is not much. And that is a problem. Because all the other clans that were featured in set 1, big clans, the Oracle Think Tank, Nova Grappler, and Royal Paladin. Sorry, Grand Blue, you just got to invent, but I don't consider you big. But yeah, those clans got big buffs going into set 2. And because of that, Kagero is a bit like in between like tier 1 and tier 2, in my opinion. A lot of people play it. You'll definitely see this on just on the ladder a lot, just because it's overall still a good clan. But in my opinion, it's not the best clan. Like when you compare it to Nova Grapplers can commit little cards to the field, but still be able to swing with a giant 2-crit Vanguard and bash you in the face. And you can't really compete with that just because, well, it's hard to compete with that just because they're killing your nulls. And they're just destroying a damage zone like crazy, and you have to somehow keep up with that, damage pressure. But because you don't really have a crit Vanguard, it's not possible. Also, with Tsukuyomi, they got a new Ride chain that lets them, and the grade 3 Tsukuyomi lets them draw cards. So overall, they get more cards, and they still have their gimmick. They can kind of confirm a kill with Silent Toms from like 4 damage. So overall, those clans really got propelled way to like tier 1 in my opinion, and kind of Kagero, like the best part of Kagero is that you had Seal Dragon Blockade from set 1, but that card is a 10k, everyone else has gotten more 11k Vanguards, and because Kagero itself doesn't generate as much advantage as you would like compared to other clans, overall you're kind of relying on your triggers, your draw triggers to get the cards that you want. And if you don't get the cards that you want, or you're playing like a Kagero Mirror, if you've played that from set 1 before, Kagero Mirror, your opponent rides Dragonic Overlord, you have a blockade. Sure, you have a great effect, but they start retiring all your boosters. Your blockade has to rely on like triggering to hit, and just overall a terrible time. And you run out of cards to call. There's a reason why when you played blockade before in set 1, it was fine to just 2-lane your opponent because you're always getting 2 damage in. But that's also because you don't have that many cards in your hand to sustain just dropping 3 lanes all the time. So there were problems with old Kagero, but now they've kind of been exacerbated by everyone else getting good cards, and you didn't get as many amazing cards as you would like. But let's get to the deck constructions. I have 4 decks. 2 are featured on Amber Dragons, and 2 are just more upgraded blockade builds. And then we have a priority list for all you people who didn't get good cards in the gacha. So yeah, let's go to the list now. Here we have the defensive Kagero and the budget Amber Dragon. So they're both Amber Dragon builds. I actually do like the defensive Kagero a lot, simply because it's playing more 11Ks. It's playing more of the Outlast game. I like playing longer games, but maybe that's not good for Vanguard 0, I guess. But I like playing a bit longer games. But let's get into the deck construct. We'll talk about the defensive Kagero, and we'll start from the top, alright? Grade 1's pretty standard, I think, for nulls. We're running Gojos a lot, simply because we don't have the Conroe, and we want to filter our hand to the nulls. We're running the Amber Dragons, because we are running Amber Dragons. And we have these Heat Nail Salamanders. These are a new card. When it boosts and it hits, you can retire one of your opponent's grade 1 cards. And it just a heads up, it is actually grade 1. It's not grade 1 or lower, so you can't retire Conroes and stuff, but luckily not everyone runs Conroes anymore. There's not that many starters you actually want to retire as well. That's why going to grade 2, you don't see us running Tejas. But also don't forget Heat Nail Salamander, you have to boost the Vanguard. So as a Vanguard booster, you just can't. It's not as OP where you can boost anything and kill anything. It also goes back to the deck as well. So there's that. Grade 2s again, we only run 2 Berserks, but the big thing that really came out of set 2 is Bellicosity Dragon. Now this card is amazing. It's an on-hit Vanguard. You can countercharge 1. So let's just pop off more of our effects. Interestingly, we're only running 3 Amber Dragon Dusks, simply because our grade 1 search for the 2, and if you don't draw the 1, then whatever, right? Don't worry about the 2, just write anything for the 2. And then going to the grade 3s, we have 4 Dragonic Overlords. Now, Overlords, I can't stress, are really, really important in this meta, just because they're a great regard. And if you have to write it as Vanguard, it is still 11k. It is still 11k. But when it's on regard, yes, it wipes your opponent's front row for 3 counterblast. Now that you've built Bellicosity, the counterblast, cost is kind of It's not as impactful. You might be able to get off 3 Draconic Overlords off in a game if all you use is Draconic Overlord. But that one turn where you sweep your opponent's board and then possibly retire a back row or something like that with like a Salamander, it is actually a crazy turn, because then your opponent has to commit a lot more cards onto the field, and then if you can sweep them again, they're just running out of cards. They're running out of cards, okay? Waterfall is the new triple R we got in this set. A lot of people think it's very, underwhelming, because it doesn't have a really cool effect. That's fine. It has a very lame effect, but that's all it needs, alright? It's basically just a 14k. If you boost it with a 7k, it's 21. That hits numbers. That's what we like. If it has another effect, you can discard a grade 3, and it gets 10k. So if your opponent was lucky enough to get a heal trigger, and then like a damage shield, you can just punch through that power. Vanguard only though, but it's 11k as well, so that's nice. And then we've got the Amber Dragons. So the Amber Dragons are nerfed. You can counterblast 2 to give an effect that's on hit Vanguard to retire a card. Generally speaking, you're just going to retire boosters, and that's the whole game plan of this deck. Retire the boosters, and then the front row will usually just die naturally, simply if they're intercepts. If they're not, then sure, you can just attack it. But eventually your opponent is just going to run out of cards, and then they will not really be able to make great columns to attack your Vanguard with. You need to commit, like a lot of times you do need to commit a booster to hit an 11k, unless something just hits naturally 11. So once you're able to just wipe the boosters, it's going to be tough to hit your Vanguard at times. So we're running 9 draws, just, I think in all my decks I'm running 9 draws for Kagero, just because you need that advantage. Kagero doesn't really have cards that just straight up draw cards that are easy to access, so that's why we've put the draws at 9. Now if you just look at the budget Amber build, the big difference is that, we're running Lava Arm Dragon. Now even in a non-budget build, you might want to run Lava Arm, simply because that it is a 12k, unless you have a Vanguard that's not Amber Dragon, Dusk, or Eclipse. Then if that happens, then it minuses 5k and becomes 7. But when you have Dusk, when you have Eclipse as Vanguard, then it's 12k. And it sits on the side, it's a grade 2, it's an intercept, your opponent has to commit cards to attack you. Let's say like a theoretical situation where at grade 2, you have a Nahalem as your Vanguard, you have a Lava Arm Dragon. Well, you don't even need Nahalem, right? Like Dusk itself is a 10k. So you have a 10k Vanguard, then you have a 12k Lava Arm Dragon. Your opponent has to somehow hit 12k, alright? And how do you hit 12k? Usually you have to boost. You have to commit a boost. So you have one committal there to attack your 12k. Then they kind of either need to attack your Vanguard with a 10k, or they need to commit something again to boost their Vanguard to hit that 10k. And if they do that, they've committed 2 cards on the field, and then next turn you ride grade 3, you can start retiring their cards, and they'll be in a bad situation where they're already losing cards. They were forced to commit cards, and now they've lost them, and that is basically your game plan. You're simplifying the game state to the point where both players have less cards, but you're just a bit fatter than your opponent. So that's why Lava Arm is good. If you want to run him in like your defensive Kagero build, that is fine too. You can just replace, some Nahams, some Berserks, or Bellicosity. It's all up to you. You can even run less Dusks if you want to. You just go all in with your grade 1 ride. And then overall, at the grade 3 again, there's a lot of Draconic Overlords. You basically get one from the story. You can get one from just reaching Legend 10. That's very easy to get, I think. So overall, you can definitely at least secure 2 Overlords, but come on, alright? You want Overlords. Next set is going to be the end, likely. So you need 4 Draconic Overlords for that. Enough said, right? We're running Dual Axe Art Fiend just because it's 13k. Usually it's a 13k. And then we have like filler slots like Goki and things like that. So that's it with the Amber Dragon builds. Let's move on to the more blockade-ish builds. Now, personally, I actually like blockade less. Simply because I don't like being 10k Vanguard. That's pretty much it. But this is pretty much like a list that you'd probably have if you played set 1, Kagero, moving on to set 2. And the only upgrades that probably you would probably do is just add like a waterfall. But you might not even need to do that too. The biggest one is probably Bellicosity as well. Just because this lets you fire off your effects more often. But one thing here is that I've added a lot more Jokers and Berserks. You might not like run 4 Berserks before, but now you definitely can. Just because, yeah, Bellicosity lets you countercharge, it lets you, use more of these effects. And then there's like synergy here, right? There's like Berserk Dragon, when it fires, makes your Jokers 10k. 10k boosts something like an 11k and it hits 21. That's pretty good. I run one Rareopia here. You don't really need to, in my opinion. I actually don't like Rareopia as much. You can run a Heat Nail Salamander, or you can just run a Gojo. You just run a Gojo, right? One filter is not bad. And then we have, like, you know, the rest of the deck is pretty simple. Overlords, Blockades, Arc Fiends, 13Ks, and just, yeah, one Waterfall. And then the budget, we have a budget Goki build. If you were poor, you didn't get everything you want. We have Gokis. There's 2 Dragonic Overlords. Yeah, I went only with 2 this time because in case you couldn't get more, but these 2 should be very easy to get. There is way more emphasis on Sutherland and Joker just because of that combo, and then the combo of Heat Nail. And we have Exile Dragon as well. Lots of ways to retire, to gain power, and just to beat down your opponent. If you don't have rare cards, the idea is just to bash, 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 and I hope you can win quickly enough. We have a Graphite Cannon Dragon just here for like the 5th card that hits 13k, and with Bar will hit 21. So what happens if you are missing cards, right? So if you are missing a Sentinel, replace it with beaters, okay? Replace it with beaters, you know, Bar, Gojo, and Joker. These are all beaters. A Rareopia maybe if you really wanted to. I personally don't rate Rareopia, but you can see there's some squiggly lines here. Well, not really squiggly lines, but lines that connect things to everything. And what are they? They're just basically synergy cards, right? So Heat Nail retires, Exile Dragon retires. They buff Jokers, they buff Sutherlands, they buff Blazing Core Dragon, Blazing Flare Dragon, I think. So all these cards get buffed when something gets retired, and when they do, that means they gain power, and when they get power, that means you hit higher and can hit like over damage triggers, and that's a big deal, okay? So that's basically the idea with these lines. If you're missing Berserk Dragons or Bellicossi Dragons, you just put in Lava Dragon, put in Sutherland, or just put in this 11k card that I've totally forgotten what it was, but it just gets 3k when you have more regards than your opponent. Yeah, I think it should be that. This is probably my last choice, just because it's 8k. I don't really like 8k. You also see that I'm missing putting in a Tejas, simply because there's less Conros and there's less starters that you absolutely have to kill. So running Tejas right now is probably like not needed, but like going to the next set where you have Wingle Braves running around, then you're gonna put back the Tejas in. And then with the grade 3 slots are pretty fluid. Of course, in a lot of my decks, I run a lot of Draconic Overlords, but if you don't have them, you can just run beaters, alright? Run Graphite Cannon Dragons, run Vortex Dragon. This card hits 12k, that's good enough, it retires. And again, if you somehow pulled a Blazing Fair Dragon, don't feel bad, just chuck it in. It's like a free retire when you ride it, and then it gets 3k when you retire. And Exile Dragon, you can run like 1 or 2, I think. You don't want to commit too many to an Exile Dragon just because they only retire grade 3s. But if you get it off, it makes everything hit fat. So these are basically just, if you're missing cards, if you're missing these nice, powerful support cards, put in beaters and just try and bash your opponent as quickly as possible. Hope they're dead as soon as possible and get those wins. Get those legend ranks to get more Draconic Overlords, and then hopefully you fight a lot of VP farmers, and it's all good, right? So overall, that's it with Kagero for me for set 2. Kagero is going to be a big deal when Draconic Overlord the end comes out. So if you're a Kagero fan, this is just, you know, the kind of at the bottom of like the wave, I guess. How do you say? I don't know that saying, but it gets better. It's only gonna get better from here, right? So that's it from me. That's it from Kai. If you like this, like and subscribe. We can do more clans in the future. See you later. Bye.